U.S. President Donald Trump signaled that taking control of Iran's oil supply remains a possible course of action, though he declined to provide specifics as conflict continues to escalate across the Middle East.
Speaking during a cabinet meeting at the White House on Thursday, Trump indicated that seizing Iran's oil could be considered within a broader regional strategy, while also seeking to reassure that U.S. energy security remains stable, despite tensions around the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. He stopped short of committing to any military or economic move, but his remarks underscored ongoing debate over how Washington might combine diplomatic pressure with leverage over energy resources. Trump has repeatedly claimed in recent days that Iran is eager to strike a deal, suggesting he is aiming for a rapid end to hostilities, even as Tehran denies any direct negotiations. During the lengthy televised meeting, he alternated between issuing stark warnings about destroying Iran and asserting that the country was close to conceding. Referring to the initial 4 to 6 week timeline he outlined after the U.S.-Israeli offensive began on February 28th, Trump said developments were progressing far ahead of schedule. He also claimed Iran had allowed 8 oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz as a gesture of signaling seriousness about ending the conflict. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said it was in the interest of all G7 nations to push for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran has blocked. Speaking before departing for France to attend a meeting of foreign ministers near Paris, Rubio described the situation as requiring collective action and noted there had been some progress in discussions with Iran, while declining to predict how or when they might conclude. The trip marks his first overseas visit since the February 28th airstrikes launched by the United States and Israel. On the diplomatic front, the Pakistani Foreign Ministry confirmed that indirect negotiations between Washington and Tehran are underway, with Pakistan acting as an intermediary. The ministry said the United States had presented 15 points now under consideration by Iran, adding that countries including Turkey and Egypt are supporting the effort. The Pakistani Foreign Ministry described ongoing speculation about formal peace talks as unnecessary, clarifying that communication is being conducted through relayed messages. Despite the Backchannel exchanges, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi vehemently denied that formal negotiations with Washington were taking place. Nonetheless, he considered that messages were being relayed through friendly countries, but stressed that these communications did not equate to negotiations. Araghchi reaffirmed that Iran's policy remains focused on resistance, rejecting a ceasefire offer from the U.S. and instead presenting a counter-proposal with conditions, including control over the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global oil route. As tensions rise in the region, the Israeli military has called for additional troops to be deployed in southern Lebanon, where ongoing clashes with Hezbollah are part of efforts to establish a defensive buffer zone. The Israeli military highlighted that the IDF is operating across multiple fronts, including the West Bank, Gaza, and Syria, and noted that the increasing need for combat soldiers is critical for ensuring security. In response to Israel's continued military actions, Lebanon has announced plans to file a complaint with the United Nations Security Council, citing Israel's strikes as a serious threat to the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Lebanese government stressed that Israel's actions were dangerously escalating the situation and violating Lebanon's rights.